Hi, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of That's What They Said. Today, we are featuring Rahul Batra. We have got people from all over who have also joined in, so thank you so much for doing that. I'm just struggling to, yes, I have just managed to also pin my tweet, and we are good to go. I'm just going to check and get Rahul online and he should be in any moment. Thank you so much for everyone who's joined us today. Happens to be our fourth episode of That's What They Said with Sharan. Today is
What's
Rahul.
up? What's
Welcome,
up?
welcome
What's up?
to the fourth edition, to the fourth episode rather of the first edition.
Thank
I
you.
um, thank you so much for firstly making out time to actually join in. We have the next good 30 to 40 minutes that are scheduled for all of us to actually come in here. How does it feel, Rahul, to be on your first Instagram live?
Coming from a person who barely puts up stories, I think this is a big step for me. I'm a little more nervous about how this whole thing functions instead of how the interview is going to go. So, yeah, I've made it and I'm hopefully going to do well.
So it's not an interview; it's a casual chat between two
hmm
friends, and it's majorly for all our viewers to look at what about to know more about Rahul the entrepreneur, to know more about Capable, to know more about a lot of things. So let's just let me give a very brief introduction about Rahul. I know Rahul since 2010, which has been a decade right now, as to how long back we've gone. We were in college together. Rahul used to spend about 3 hours of his day for 5 years traveling from far in Andheri, which is I think closer to Lokhandwala, all the way to 5 years. So I think that's a commitment that he has. He's an average football player, but he's certainly the most loved person that's there. Um, we also have tried to coordinate what we are wearing this time. I believe Rahul can tell me what you're wearing. Okay, you're wearing the Manchester United jersey, and I'm trying to wear the other side and maybe the better side of the city of Manchester.
No, no, no.
So so that's how we've actually planned this through. And let's just go right into it, Rahul. You've been an entrepreneur for the best part of the last couple of years.
hmm
Take us through the idea as to what prompted the idea for Commonwealth. How did you three guys come together? Whose idea was it? What happened in that whole journey?
Truthfully, Capable isn't something that was kind of, born out of the blue. It was something that we worked towards. It's kind of a funny story. The three of us, Lokesh, Purav, and I, were any which way looking for something to do. I was doing another business back then. I mean, I was working for another job, and both of them had their own individual thing. One fine day, I just got a call saying, "Saath mein kuch karna hai kya?" And I was kind of intrigued because at the back of my head, I always wanted to have something of my own, something that I could do to make this place better. So it started off over there. And Purav's cousin brother, an elder brother who's also a co-founder of Capable, actually had an up and running factory in Vasai. So we went to him. We told him that let's do something together. You have an entire product range. We happen to be good people to help you support that, expand that further. And we started off with this product that he had. And surprisingly, right then, the government of India actually banned single-use disposables. And we had a product right there which no one really had. People were kind of helpless because the government said this is wrong, but they didn't really point to the right thing. They just said that single-use disposable is banned. So we took the product that Purav's cousin brother Nishit had made. We went around. We kind of got market feedback, and I think that was the birth of Capable. That's how Capable started. That's how we launched the product, and since then we've been going on.
So are you trying to say that because of the government rule that came out that was, let's say banning plastic, was that the reason why you guys actually, got together and say that, let's make the most of this market opportunity and let's try and take care of this?
So truthfully, that's exactly how it happened. It was not something that was thought through from before. It was not something that we were planning since multiple years and happened to launch it right when it happened. It was kind of a process. We tried to make the most of an opportunity that presented itself, and things luckily fell into place. I mean, the government banned it. Purav's brother Nishit happened to have a product. The three of us, gave in our time, figure out how this works, looked out at concepts abroad, how the whole concept of reusability generally works abroad. And surprisingly, we were late to it because people have already done it in multiple countries and are doing really well. So we thought, why not give it a try in India? And that's how we started off.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So, a lot of people know about Cuppable, but a lot of people also don't know about Cuppable. I'm going to give you this platform to tell everybody, including me, what does Cuppable really do?
So, like I said, when the government banned single-use disposables to make it even more simpler, single-use disposables is everything that you use once and kind of throw away. So that was generally a concept that we were not really fine with. So the concept of Cuppable came on when we realized that we had to eradicate all single-use disposables and probably create reusable systems to replace these single-use disposables. So we came up with this product. We started off with cups because, like I said, they banned single-use disposable. The most hit market was the F&B market. The F&B market, I mean, all the beverages and all, they didn't know what to sell it in. They were struggling with paper cups because it got soggy. Glasses had those chippage issues as such. So there was this major void that we had to fill. So we came up with this product. We started giving it to all these restaurants, and then we kind of built on it. We added a service. We made it circular economy. We figured out a way where we could give the cup, collect it back, wash it, sterilize it, and use the same set of cup for multiple other events. Basically, creating an entire circular economy chain, which makes sure that any product that is used does not end up in the landfill or the ocean, but can be used multiple times. That's
All
the
right.
basic concept of Cuppable.
So who all have purchased your product or your service already?
So we've been lucky. We've been at this at probably, I think, a year. And we have approximately 100 restaurants as of now that have already purchased this cup. Obviously, a few big names being Burger King India, Swedish House Mafia. So if you happen to purchase these cups, happen to purchase any beverage from these cups, they'll all come in cuppable cups. And then after F&B, we kind of diversified into events, and we kind of added our service-based aspect in events as well. We worked with Supersonic, we worked with NH7 Weekend, approximately 50 to 60 odd events in the last year itself. So it's been good.
So if I buy a beverage from, let's say, like a Burger King,
Mm-hmm.
do I take the cup back home?
Yes, you do.
Okay. All right. Did you also participate in the 2019 Cricket World Cup?
Yes, I did. So that was actually a long shot. I didn't want to kind of bring it up because it was a moment where we were supplying to our existing client, which was Bira. And it luckily, fortunately, worked out in a way that Bira eventually became a sponsor at the World Cup. So whatever we did for Bira, it came out to be in the World Cup. So it wasn't like a direct contact, but yeah, Bira helped us out. We were a part of the World Cup.
Wow. So that's the most exciting part about Cuppable.
Yeah.
I was I was lucky enough to be in the UK during the Cricket World Cup, and I'm holding my friend's cup, which is a very damaging wearing one of friends, watching the India-Pakistan game, drinking my beer with that particular Cuppable cup. So that was the most proud moment for me, and my association with Cuppable as well. I think that was fantastic. You want to tell me, Rahul, that this is to do with entrepreneurship. This is to do with saving the environment. Do you think that 21st century businesses are very focused towards environment friendly as well?
They should actually, because I think in today's time, there are a lot of people who basically lack awareness. They do not know what is right, what is wrong, and I think that's the first step because the 21st century is actually going to make a difference. So we start with probably a little bit of awareness, show them what's right, show them that it's not really difficult, and you don't need to go really out of the way to make the smallest of difference for the betterment of the environment. So that's the plan, to probably spread awareness and make them aware of what they're going to do, what they should do rather.
Sure. Which brings me to the next question, Rahul. What have you personally done in your life, which would actually, help in the environment? Have you done anything? Have you changed from A to B so that to be more environmentally friendly yourself personally as an entrepreneur?
Yes, so actually, when we started Capable, all four, five of us, all the co-founders realized there are actually various things that you can do, really small things, trivial things, but go on to make like a very big difference. So all of us firstly made sure that none of us are going to buy any PET, Bisleri, or Aquafina, or basically any bottled water package. We all carry these reusable bottles as such, and refillable concept is there all throughout, where you can just fill in the bottle and go on, going on about your day. We've started getting these containers, reusable containers, which we take back home, wash. We've got rid of all the tissue papers from our office, and we've kind of gotten handkerchiefs and napkins and stuff. And we also try that whenever we have a meeting, which is kind of important, and all three of us have to be there, we carpool it instead of, probably going individually. So there are these really small things that kind of go a long way. And slowly and steadily, we're trying to incorporate that with whoever we come across. So yeah, the small things, but it kind of makes a difference.
Sure. So Rahul, you have done that personally. Now, that brings me to my next question, which is what's happening across the world. We see on social media that people put up, let's save the environment kind of videos. Let's, a lot of pictures going on social media about saving the environment. But do you think millennials and the Gen Zs, which are, people who born after the 1980s all the way up to 2000,
Mm-hmm.
people our age. Do you think that people our age and younger are also listening to you and preaching what you are doing in terms of capable? What is the deeper consumer insights that you find,
So,
if at all?
yeah, there are. So, truthfully, like I said, not a lot of people know that paper is bad. I mean, at the end of the day, paper is also made out of trees. So, it's not something that if you're using paper cups instead of plastic, you're kind of doing a better thing for the environment. So, it's different that way. But like I said, slowly and steadily, there is a lot of awareness that people are creating. I'll give you a small example of how we've done it at events. So, we've kind of had our stalls for alcohol and for water, and we don't really get the consumers to go out of the way. You get the water, you get the bottle, you get the cup, you drop it off, we collect it, and everything else after that is our headache. We get it back, we sterilize it, we wash it, we get it back for the next event. So slowly and steadily people are coming to realize that without going out of the way, you can conveniently help the environment, and that's what we're trying to focus the youth through events and through these restaurants, and something is what we're trying to focus.
You've spent already a few years, especially doing these events, being a part of the Cricket World Cup of 2019, which is one of the biggest sporting events as well. You want to tell me, Rahul, what is your biggest achievement so far? I know there are a lot more bigger achievements to come, but then so far, what has been your biggest achievement?
So, in terms, I think it's been a very short time. We've had smaller achievements rather than one big one which we celebrate. But even when we come across the smaller ones, we tend to celebrate it. I think my biggest moment in Capable was when we realized that we were more than just the mediator who picks up the cups from a particular manufacturer and gives it to a B particular restaurant or event. I think the big moment for us is when we realized there was an entire service attached to it, that we can probably collect them back, probably wash them, sterilize them, use the same cups again and again, probably create a rental service where you give the cups on a rent and then just get it back once they're done using it. So I think the Eureka moment, the biggest achievement, the biggest moment for Capable per se for me was when we realized that there was this service bit attached to it.
All right. So, and with all the events that you've done, what has Capable, what has been your achievement from a very materialistic point of view that you would have achieved in that, see, because I've seen on social media a lot of big names, Gaurav Kapoor, quite a few of these people um, you know, have really looked at your particular product, promoted it on their social media. You've got reposted it media. What was your aha moment from a materialistic point of view? Maybe you were at an event and you were like, wow, this is what I have done everything for.
So, I think one of those big moments was when we did NH7 Weekender, and right after that, when we were planning for Supersonic, and usually, given a startup, given something that you're introducing, which is completely new that people are yet adapting to, it was kind of good to see, Supersonic and other big brands that were planning their events in the first half of 2020 actually gave us a call saying that, I saw this at Weekender. I think the way you executed it was try to replicate it at all of our festivals as well. So that kind of made me feel a little good, made me feel that we're going in the right direction. When people reach out to you and try to replicate something that you've seen in their events as well, I think that's some sort of progress that meant achievement for us.
All right. There have been some questions also coming in the comment section, and I just
Mm-hmm.
want to just look at one particular question. How do you measure success at Capable? Is it to do with numbers? Is it to do with how much money you make out of it? Is it to do with how many relations you would have built? What is your measurement for this success?
So I think the measurement. I think there are two parameters to this. One of them is obviously the number of the more number of clients that we tap into, the more number of events that we do, the more number of restaurants we can get in touch with. I think that's one step of getting the people more aware of what's happening. And the second aspect to that is And the second aspect of that is how we kind of change customer behavior.
Yeah.
When someone kind of comes and tells us that, yeah, I use this and I've watched this multiple times and I use it every day when I go to office and stuff. The change in customer behavior that we bring about, probably through an event or through restaurant, is another thing that we kind of use as a measurement for success.
No, I think that's a very, very well thought of answer, because I believe, building relations, seeing how people change, their way. That's one way to also, look at success measurement as well.
Right.
Talk about entrepreneurship, Rahul. Rahul, we've spent the best part of 5 years together as well as, back in college. Did you always think that entrepreneurship is something you wanted to get into?
So, truthfully, yes. I always, like I said before, I always wanted to do something of my own. It's not that I had a problem with any jobs or the routine or anything of that sort, but I personally always wanted to do something by myself. So at the back of the head, I always thought that probably sometime in due course of time, I want to be an entrepreneur.
Okay. And you let's go back to life before Capable.
Mm-hmm.
You graduated doing the bachelor's in mass media,
Right.
right? Post which you joined Zomato, post which you joined a marketing agency where you were creating marketing campaigns. Rahul,
Right.
what was your biggest takeaway from both these jobs? You can answer for one job, like respectively, but what did you learn the most from any of these jobs?
So I am going to start with Rotract. I think I remember whenever I think of Rotract or whenever someone asks me what I kind of gained out of it, truthfully, the first person that comes to my mind is you, because I kind of think back of all the times when we've gone for recruitment drives, those class-to-class PR, and I remember this one telemarketing thing that you did, which I kind of caught on, and I'm assuming a lot of people after that did, where you had those telemarketing ads. मैं बहुत अकेला था और मैंने फिर ये किया और वो किया और फिर मैंने Rotrack join किया. So that I think kind of sums up exactly what Rotract is for me. I was this introvert kind of a person back in school, and then once I joined Rotract, and kind of exposed me to a lot of things. It molded me to the person that I am today. Public speaking, organizational skills. I never thought that my college life would probably involve organizing a event for school children, 5,000 of them probably 5 times in the 5 years that I'm going to be a part. So it molded me to the person that I am today, gave me a lot of exposure. And obviously, like Rotrack was nothing beyond the people that made Rotrack what it was. So I am really fond of the people. I've learned a lot from them. And I'm happy that I'm in touch with them even beyond Rotrack. So that was my Rotrack journey as of now. Moving on to right after Rotract, I joined Zomato, and I always wanted to do something in marketing. But whoever I kind of spoke to told me that sales is something that you need to know right before you get into marketing. So Zomato was my next step. It was a funny experience in Zomato. They gave me the eastern side of it, which went from Ghatkopar to Kalyan. And I actually had to convince a few traditional people who yet thought that print ads were the best ways to get people into their restaurants, that something new is there. So that was kind of a tough challenge. It got me to understand the grassroots level. It got me to understand how everything functions right at below, and then take things up. So that was a fantastic experience as well. And I think after that, I worked in this company called ASB, consultancy, which was a marketing consultancy company, and that kind of gave me an insight on how things work from the inside, from a brand point of view. You're usually the customer, you buy things, you use the product, and you kind of let go of it. But sooner or later, when you start working on the other side, you realize the intricacies that go into it: product designing, budgeting, a lot of marketing campaigns, etc., etc. So it kind of gave me an insight from the brand point of view as well.
So, so Rahul, you finished a mass media, undergraduate degree. Then you went on to work in a sales role. Then you went on to work in a marketing role, and then you decided over a phone call where somebody asked you "Kuch karna hai," which in most cases is to organize a football game or to organize a Friday evening plan.
Right.
You looked and you took the plunge into entrepreneurship. Do you have any advice for people who are listening to this right now, watching us right now, also as to how could they be motivated in order to take that plunge from your nice secure job that's paying you well to actually taking like a leap of faith. You might not make money for the first 6 months, maybe a year, maybe longer. How could you where did you gather the courage in order for you to do that, and what's your advice to these people?
So, to firstly start off with how I went about it was kind of a big thing for me because I was at the age of, I think, 24. And usually, when people want to experiment with their lives, the normal tendency is that you kind of do it right after college because you have a couple of years to kind of figure out what exactly you like, what you intend on doing. And 24 is the year when your parents kind of make you feel that you need to be a little more responsible in life. So it was a tough thing. But one thing I realized after doing Capable is that there's nothing much to lose. I mean, you need to get out there, you need to hit the ground running. And if you're fortunate enough to have a good product, a brilliant team, and your fair share of luck, you'll figure a way. And if you think about what's the worst that could possibly happen, I mean, you lose a couple of years, but you'll gain major customer insights on a particular market that you're working at, and that's going to help you majorly to go back to a job and probably climb up the corporate ladder. So there is a little scope of there's nothing much to lose and there's a lot to gain. So I think anyone who's thinking about it should definitely give it a try.
All right. Okay. So you started off with Capable a few years back. That
Hmm.
you would have thought about where you wanted Capable to actually be in 2020, right?
Right.
Uh, have you reached your goals? Have you surpassed your goals or your expectations that you had when you had started? What was your 2020 goal when you started off, and how much of that have you achieved?
So, truthfully, we didn't have the vision of what we had back then for Capable. I mean, Capable back then was a product that we had discovered because of the government ban, which we intended to maximize and capitalize on. Sooner or later, we kind of realized that there is a lot more potential to it. We added a service to it. We made sure that these products are made out of crop waste, which gives it another angle, collecting it back, washing it. So if you compare to where we were when we started, and if you compare to where we are right now, I think we've grown majorly. There are a lot of aspects that we've added on, and yeah, I think we definitely have reached much further than where we were back then and how we thought and perceived Capable to be.
Fair enough. What about what Capable is doing in these trying times of COVID-19? Uh, we're working from home. We are all struggling to with the whole economy. What are you guys doing in this lockdown?
So it's been a tough time, not only for us, but probably everyone across the world. In the smaller aspects, we're probably looking to use this time as such to get out of the daily rut that we as co-founders were in. Those daily things that you get up, you do a certain section of things to make the company function, then you go back, then you wake the next day up. So we're using this time to probably capitalize on bigger things, probably get into newer markets, develop newer products, reach out to people who otherwise were, a little caught up in their daily rut as well. So we're maximizing this time to create a newer site to Capable, and hopefully soon after the lockdown is done, we'll be launching our next service.
All right. So that is a very similar answer to my next question that I don't know if you would really want to answer as to what is Capable has in their plans. What is your 5-year plan or so that you might be having?
So our 5-year plan is probably to start off, entering into newer industries. We're right now, we've started with F&B. We've kind of left our mark there. We're moving on to events. We started on gaining momentum in events as well. Our next step is probably to get into cinemas, households, and even FMCG markets. Because if you tinker with the scope of Cuppable, is something that can't be contained. Every aspect and every your daily routine involves so many plastic components that you probably use once and then you get rid of it. That is when what our 5 year plan as such is to probably enter newer markets, to eradicate plastic at its core, to replace it with newer materials, and yeah, that's more or less it.
Okay. What about you've been working for so many years already.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought of doing like an MBA of sorts? I've heard that the IE school has a very good MBA, especially for entrepreneurs.
Yes, I am strongly considering it. I did this small digital marketing course during the lockdown. It really helped me. It opened my eyes to newer concepts. So I'm pretty sure if I do my MBA from IE Business School, it's going to open a lot of doors for me and for Capable, and hopefully benefit the both of us in the future.
That is fantastic. There's one more question that's actually there in the comments also. What is your thought on office spaces? I believe you have your own office space.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how's that coming along? Is it comfortable? Do you have a larger team? What happens when you have a larger team? How do you manage, that? Are you open to co-working spaces as well in the near future?
Yes, I think we will. As of now, like I said, we started off recently, so our team is comparatively smaller. And because it's smaller, the place that we have in Juhu it fits the bill. We're happy over there. Things are working fine. But sooner or later, with newer concepts coming up, we've kind of foreseen that we'll have to hire a couple of more people and move on to a bigger space. So yes, there is a possibility of going into co-working spaces and expanding our team out there.
Um, you know, I remember we were having this discussion because you three of you are based in Bombay, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys have events happening across the country. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe soon, Capable will go global. What is your take on having resources in these other metro places where there are going to be events coming up? What is your take on that?
As in within India or abroad?
India and abroad, how will you manage? Right now, you must be traveling to, let's say, like Delhi, Bangalore, Calcutta, where there are a lot of events happening. What happens when Capable grows? How do you plan to have these offices in those regions, or would you have reps in those regions, or will you continue to travel because you want to take care of everything yourself, especially because
Uh,
you're co-founders?
No, I mean, I think being a part of co-founder, obviously there's a part of it where we have to delegate. Like I said, that we're moving to newer markets, we're creating newer products, and that probably requires all of us to be on the growth aspect of it. Once we've kind of established our presence in events and in F&B industries, it's easy to replicate. So probably hiring representatives over there, expanding our team in cities like Bangalore, Delhi, the tier one cities, and replicating the process that it's a lot more easy than we physically being present there. And once we start, probably now, obviously, we're only based in Mumbai, but once we start expanding to Delhi, Bangalore, if the response is good, we have a couple of friends who've shown kind of interest abroad as well. So sooner or later, we'll take the plunge and we'll see how it works out.
All right. Being three co-founders means four co-founders rather.
Five, actually. So it's the three of us, me, Lokesh, Purav. Purav's elder brother Nishit and his wife. So we're five co-founders.
All right. So being five co-founders, there's a lot of five different minds, five different things to look at, five different growth possibilities. Rahul, can you tell me how do five of you all divide the work?
Uh it's not that difficult, dividing the work. Actually, I think the five of us are kind of really invested in this concept as a whole. And when we discuss it, and as we've been discussing it, the scope of this conversation doesn't limit itself to a specific market or to a specific product, or to a specific material as such. So, in terms of work, we have a lot of things to do and a lot of newer things to start off with. So, we possibly decide that this is hypothetically I'm handling one part of events, then Lokesh will probably handle restaurants. Pura will be building on something new, and so in terms of work, there is no little work to be divided. There is a lot of work, so we kind of it's a lot more easier to divide it.
All right. And where did the name Capable come from?
I kind of read that in the comments as well. Simran Tawar has been trying to put that question multiple times. So the name Kapaville came out at this festival, one of the first festivals that we ever did back in 2018. It was Spoken Fest, and right towards the end of the festival, a couple of our friends and Pura location I were kind of sitting there. Ronak was there, Simran Talwar was there, and I think that's when we came up with various names, and everyone was like, "It's what you do, what matters," and eventually the name kind of catches on, and that was the moment where the five of us kind of coined Cuppable, and since then it's kind of stuck. And it's funny that all our other company names, apparel concepts that we're going to start with, all are similar to Cuppable.
All right. Okay. So we need to keep a tab of what all will be coming up with Capable sometime soon, if I'm not wrong, right?
Right? Yes.
Okay. So let's now look at some of the rapid fire questions that I've actually prepared. So if you could.
Mhm.
Try and be as rapid as possible. Rahul, my first question is that, if you had to write a book, what would be the title of that book?
Mm. I think a better tomorrow.
A Better Tomorrow. Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, uh, what is one thing, Rahul, that you agree to and people usually disagree to?
Oh, that's a sensitive thing. So basically, I am really against when products have this label of biodegradable and compostable written on it, and when people kind of use it, they think they're doing good for the environment. And I have multiple discussions and arguments with various set of people. That is not how you're saving the environment. It's a lot more complicated and it's a lot more difficult than just using those products. So that is something that I usually not very comfortable with.
Okay. And, when you were a kid, what did
Mhm.
you be when you grew up?
I actually was my school basketball captain back in the seventh grade to I think the ninth grade. So I always thought that possibly when the scope of basketball kind of becomes big in India, I would be one of the first few people to represent them. That was always the thought that was in my head.
Yeah. All right. And you're decently tall enough as well to
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just a little more and I could have dunked. I kind of missed out, but it's okay.
Also, Rahul, I've asked you this question already, but what has been your most satisfying moment at Capable so far?
I think I've covered both the aspects. The part where we kind of realized that we were more than just the product and we had an entire service attached to it. And when events and other restaurants started calling us up saying that we've seen what you do and we want to replicate it and, spread the awareness. So I think those two are something that have kind of stuck on and helped us move forward.
Okay. What is the one brand that defines you? And you can't say
Mm.
Capable.
Mm. Adidas. Impossible is nothing.
Fantastic. I think so which, which brings me to my next question. Who is your biggest inspiration?
So I am someone actually who gets inspired very easily. You do not need to take much effort to inspire me. I just kind of got done reading the autobiography of Richard Branson. And the way he went about things is something that really intrigued me. Probably a few steps that I'll incorporate while we're working on Cuppable. So Richard Branson.
So are you planning to have as many brands as how many Richard Branson has in the near future?
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. We have the ideas. We'll probably pull one and one together and make it happen.
Okay. Okay. Let's try and be a little more rapid this time, Rahul. What is the first
Hmm.
emotion or the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the following words? First one, Capable.
Eco-friendly.
Okay. Girlfriend.
Good. Good to have one.
Okay. Okay. So I think all the viewers want to know if you still have one as of
So,
now.
for further inquiries, you can reach out to reuse@becuppable.com. That's a portal that we've created where we reach out to all Cuppable related inquiries, and anything anyone has a question about can definitely reach out to us there.
Okay, fantastic. All the people in the comments really want to know, this. Okay, first thing that comes to mind, say RCHR.
Oh, molded me into the person that I am today.
Okay. Lockdown.
Waiting for it to get done.
Okay. Man United.
Passion.
Okay. What should happen with Paul Pogba?
He should stay. I'm looking forward to Bruno and Paul Pogba working together. I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay. All right. I think that that's been fantastic. I believe we have spent the best part of 40 minutes already. Rahul, I want you to also take this opportunity for you to tell all the viewers that will be watching this, maybe on different platforms, maybe at this live right now through Instagram, through LinkedIn, through YouTube in the near future. Uh, you know, what kind of message do you want people to spread about Cuppable? I know you're talking about environment and all those things. Is there something you want to tell everybody about what they should be doing that might help Cuppable? But let's say Cuppable is just one small piece in the puzzle where the larger aim is to take care of the environment. What is your advice to everybody who's listening?
So actually, my advice kind of is it's something that we're going to launch really soon. There's this concept that we're working on that we intend to launch right after Cuppable. It's called Refillable. It's a concept where we're taking if you take a range of all the home care products that you already have and you use on a monthly basis as such, your hand sanitizers, your hand washes, floor detergents, floor cleaner, etc., etc. We're taking that entire range, and what we're doing is we've created this refill truck as such. So instead of like how any customer would probably use the sanitizer liquid and trash the bottle, we're making sure that they don't trash it right then. We've created a refill truck that automated. There's an automated dispensing system which dispenses all of these liquids. So we would want to actually encourage people to sign up for this subscription to probably come to our refill truck, or probably we could reach out to them and set it up in their housing societies, and they could just get their existing packaging down or use our aluminium bottles and continue to save on plastic, go bigger on the environment, and keep refilling and keep reusing the material. That's the basic concept, and I think that's the suggestion that I would want to put out to subscribe to Refillable, which is launching really soon after the lockdown.
I think uh, I think that's great. I think next time when I leave home on a Friday night or a Saturday night to go to different bars, I think I
Mhm.
should get my phone, my wallet, my house keys, and a Cuppable mug so that I can keep refilling my drinks on this. So thank you so much, Rahul, for doing this for us. I know
Thank you so much.
your first time live, and I know you were a little apprehensive about this, but I believe you've done a fantastic job. I know
Thank
you
you.
sent me a text saying that please let me know how I did after the show, but I'm going to tell you right now as well. That you've done a fantastic live session. I think everybody has really enjoyed as well, and so will all the viewers that we'll have. Right now we are having viewers only in thousands, but hopefully once the numbers increase, I think so will numbers for Cuppable as well. Thanks so much for being here once again.
Thank you, thank you. I actually want to thank you as well. When I kind of first saw the roster, I'll be very honest here. I did not think I kind of fit the bill. When you have people like Shashank, Chirag, who've conquered so many things and are in the pathway of doing many more things. So I kind of thought that I'm not there yet. But thanks to you, I got the opportunity to talk about Cuppable and what we intend to do in the near future. And that was actually a very good platform for us. So thank you for having us.
No, I think it's a pleasure. I'm actually doing this for people to help grow their businesses and to also help them know stuff. No, because personally, I didn't know exactly what Cuppable does until right now as well. So, thank you so much for doing this for us and for all the
Thank
viewers.
you.
And hope that this lockdown gets over soon and we
Yes.
go back and start living our normal, wonderful lives at the
Yes.
of the city. Thank you so much,
Thank
Rahul.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you, Sharon. Thank you so much.
All right, then. That was the end of another episode of That's What They Said. This was the episode 4. We've got a great lineup coming up, especially on the weekend. We've got Paras Fatnani who will be coming up, on Saturday. He is the co founder of Honey Twigs. He's also an alumnus of RCHR, but he's certainly also the global communications director at QS, which is a UK-based large education management company. So thanks so much for we'll have Paras. On Saturday, I believe. On Sunday, we have a very special guest. He's been my school friend, so I know him from like the earliest time compared to all the other speakers that have come in on this first roster. He is the founder of Indian Institute of digital education. Once he sets up a webinar, there are 1,000 people that actually come in. So he has created a really great digital marketing school that will be coming up. So I'm talking to him on Saturday. Tune in at around 5 p.m. on Saturday and about 5 p.m. as well on Sunday. I will still put up the exact information on my Instagram, on my stories, and on my posts. So thanks so much once again for joining, everyone. I hope you have a good rest of the week. Today's Thursday. I hope you have a good rest of the week, and I will see you on Saturday once again live. Until then, thank you. Please do share any kind of feedback that you guys have had about this, and I believe it will really help me to actually gain a little more value than what I must be giving you guys right now. Thanks so much, guys, and I will see you Saturday.